stuff made.
Yeah. Well, welcome back, man.
Yeah, thank you.
The last time we talked on the podcast, you were you just stepped down as VP at High Point.
Yeah. Been a while now. Been traveling, doing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm recovering after my fall.
Yeah.
Which was kind of random, but movie theater, went to the restroom, blacked out, hit my head a couple times, fractured my jaw, cracked the skull, got a brain bleed. About, what was it? Friday, it would have been 3 weeks exactly.
Must have been a boring movie.
It was Puss in Boots. It wasn't terrible. Evidently, I didn't like it. I'll go headbutt a urinal.
Yeah, but you're doing better now, right?
Yeah. Got the 67 staples out this past Wednesday and on the good side of healing now. Excited to see where everything goes from here.
Well, before everybody was asking me how you were doing, they were asking me to do another, do a follow-up episode with you. You're still the highest downloaded episode to date on the 11 episodes. So,
well, I feel honored. Thank you.
So everybody wanted me to do a follow-up and see what's going on. So we led right into the brain bleed. So
yeah,
I'm glad you're feeling better about that.
Yeah. Stepped down from High Point. Like I said, got a new RV and started doing a lot of traveling with Jeff here and some more videoing and stuff. Got a lot more to do.
Yeah.
And plan on starting my own podcast, hopefully, if all goes well.
Are we sticking with the name?
Yeah.
You want to say it here?
Yeah. Recreational therapy. I think that.
Is that it?
Is that what it was? No?
I think it's recreational rehab.
Recreational rehab?
Yeah. We can change it to therapy.
Oh.
I concur with the rehab.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, now the shoe fits.
Well, we're going to give you a pass. You have a head injury.
No, yeah. Minor.
I was going to say, didn't I already buy some domainage on that?
Yeah.
I think so.
Jeff's over here like, I got the wrong website.
No, I probably remembered wrong. Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Same thing.
It's not like we've said it out loud too many times.
No, it's been over text.
Yeah.
But I'm not good at reading.
Yeah. So how old are you now? 34?
34. Going to be 35 next month. Yeah.
So
March 10th.
Yeah. Let's do a deep dive in the last 6 months of what it's like to be retired at 35, basically, or, what did you think it was going to be? What did it turn out to be?
I thought it was going to be exciting and on to the next chapter, but it ended up being a lot harder than what I expected. Okay. It was a whole different mindset, and going from having a schedule and having things to do every day to not having anything you had to do. It was definitely, sorry for my language, but a mind fuck, honestly. And it was a hard time. I had some downtime, but I still kept myself busy. But still, I knew I wasn't me 100%. I was off. And it was really almost like I was still needed, but not needed. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't need to be anywhere. Nobody needed me for anything, but I still kept myself busy and wanted to keep shooting for what we're shooting for.
Right.
And I think part of it too, being winter, had a lot to do with it. I couldn't get out and do very much. And
yeah, it's like I always say, it's seasonal depression mixed with regular depression.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was.
So pretty much your whole adult life, you've had a job or a structure where you woke up every day and had something to do. And then one day it was like
nothing.
Yeah.
And I mean, going from VP to not really having nothing, it was crazy. And yeah, a lot of years of always having a schedule, having to be at work at a certain time and then be home at a certain time. And by that time you're tired. So you eat,
wake up,
go to bed,
do it all over again. Does it feel like Groundhog Day a little bit?
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. And then we went on the trip out west, and then going down to Florida helped a lot. Being in better weather, being able to ride the bikes and go see a bunch of shit. It was a lot of fun, but still I could still tell I was in my own mind a lot, and just something I had to move through. Evidently something else knew that I needed a thump on the head.
So What was your perspective like with your trip out west? Well, even from going out west to going to Florida, like, is it what you wanted it to be, or could you kind of wanted to go back home and get back to work in a sense, or, what was that?
It wouldn't really get back home and go to work. I could just tell that I wasn't in it 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was there, I was having fun, but still I wasn't there 100%. It was me, and I was happy and having a good time. I mean, we had a blast and we seen a lot of amazing stuff, but my head just wasn't in it.
Yeah.
I didn't care which way we went or how we got there. I was just driving and doing my thing. I wasn't really into it. It was kind of weird. And then when I got back, I kind of just fell into the rut again. I was still doing some stuff, hanging out with you guys and everybody else, but then I would just hole up in the trailer or in the RV.
Yeah.
Hanging there with the dogs and do some stuff, hang out with Scott a lot. And then when I went to Florida, my mood changed a little bit because I had things to do. I planned the trip and did things down there.
Yeah, you were on a schedule of sorts.
Yep. I never really thought that having a schedule and having stuff to do would really affect your mindset that much.
Right.
But I mean,
I'm sure Jeff can attest to that after that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And I think that trip was just difficult weather wise. Also, it was cold as fuck a lot of times. So like,
that's true.
That definitely affected your wanting to ride that end of it. But, trips like that are kind of just grueling in the sense where it's not home. You're kind of definitely not struggling in an RV like that, but you're definitely still like not able to be in your local place doing your normal thing, like you're saying, a schedule.
Yeah.
And I think by the time you got to Florida, you're a little bit more accustomed to it. And a lot of the places we went, it just wasn't set up for a huge RV like that,
Yeah, very true.
It wasn't difficult, but it definitely limited some of the places we could go.
Yeah, definitely had to use yours to go explore before we could take mine back in some places.
Yeah. But, as far as being, I think a lot of what you're talking about is just what comes along with huge transitions in your life. You know what I mean? Like you had a lot of things not happen, but, go down where it's like, you need time to process. So it's normal to not know what to do, I think.
Right.
Throw anybody in that position.
I mean, you throw it on splitting up with my wife too, starting to divorce work and then shop. And I guess it was quite a bit.
Yeah.
Monumental changes.
Yeah.
And of course, I mean, you were looking to kind of like get away from it all, but you probably found out that it kind of goes with you.
I was trying to run away from it, but my mind's still there.
Right.
You can't run away from your mind,
And that was kind of like a practice trip to a bigger trip. Do you think you're going to eventually do a longer one, or just, more of the same, just pop in and pop out kind of thing?
It may be a numerous smaller trips, or it may be one big trip. I do want to, once the weather starts getting better, go back out to the Dakotas and go back out west riding again. But after the head injury with different things, I mean, it's going to be a whole new obstacle. But
I think part of that is just having a home and then having travel. And it's like, you can't really escape one or the other. If you're home too much, you kind of feel trapped there and get a little bogged down. But if you're on the road and you have, all these things piling up at home that you want to do, it's going to be a little stressful. So I don't know how to escape that other than getting rid of one or the other.
Mm-hmm. Which it has been another thing that's crossed my mind, is to start, once the weather starts breaking here, park the RV down there at my new place.
Mm-hmm.
Just get the inside of that thing done and get that house to where it's actually livable. I could live out of the RV down there and then just work on it daily, make my own schedule.
Yeah.
To maybe help me recover with what I'm going through now. And then from there, plan trips and have a homestead, start the homestead, get that stuff going.
Yeah.
There's a lot there that I want to do. And I feel that's been a big, like you said, another weight that's always there. That's something that's not finished.
Right.
Well, and getting some things to the point where you can actually probably employ people doing it, like the sawmill thing.
Yeah.
You know, like that's going to start off you doing it, but you're not going to want to devote your whole life to sawing logs.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's a complex puzzle.
Yep. And it was just, like you said, I was trying to escape it.
Yeah.
Tried to use the trips to get away from it, but yet it was still a weight that's always there. And the sawmill stuff, get that thing down there and working better and possibly purchase another one. But I'm really excited to start on the house, get more of the floorboards done, get the cabinets and everything in. I pretty much got everything there that needs to be done. And I could even hire some contractors to do a lot of that work too while I'm out of town if we go somewhere.
Yeah. So would you say that stepping away has been better for your mental health or?
Yes. Yeah. I don't recommend stepping, or I don't regret stepping away.
Yeah.
At all. No, it's made, honestly, our family life better. Well, we can talk and have normal conversations and not just talk about work.
Yeah.
It's amazing. You try to leave work at work, but it doesn't happen, especially when it's a family run business. And I think I don't regret it at all.
Yeah. That kind of thing's important for relationships.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm sure my family's sick and tired of hearing me and Tim talk about fire department stuff that nobody cares about, but
when it's your life, it's your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't regret stepping away at all. It's been honestly amazing. It's helped out a lot. Yeah.
So what do you want to talk about on this? I know we were talking about it I said we should talk about it in real time about your podcast. I think you're really good at, I don't know how to explain it. More the emotional, like you're not going to talk about weather. You're not going to talk about politics. I guess
deep dives almost.
Deep dives and inspirational type things or mental health advocacy.
Actually, during the last 3 weeks, I've had quite a few people ask me if I've ever been interested in helping people with addiction counseling or just life counseling.
Yeah. Is that something you'd be into?
I would. I'd like to do some of that on the podcast too.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe see if I can help people. I've had people offer for me to come talk at churches with addiction people and all that.
I think that'd be great. Yeah.
And I'm so open about it all. Like my doctors were even like, holy shit. Because I'm not shy about my addiction issues in the past. During this, I was terrified to have those pills back in my system for the pain and stuff, but my body really needed it. And I made sure it was controlled. I didn't control any of it. Everybody else took control, wrote down the times, wrote down how much. I didn't want it.
How much did they give you?
I don't know the Oxycontin. I don't know how much that was they were giving me in the hospital. They did give me Dilaudid a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
And then they gave me Percocet 5s to bring home, which I still think we have some of, which I was taking just half of one, usually right before I went to bed. And that was just to help my head settle down so I could get some sleep.
Yeah.
And then when I went to get the staples out, my mom gave me a whole one. She's like, it might hurt. So here, we'll give you a whole one.
You've earned this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be scary. I was wondering about that.
It was a whole nother animal I didn't expect.
Yeah. You're kind of in between a rock and a hard place when that comes up.
Yeah. It's just the thought of it being in my system terrified me.
Yeah.
Like Tylenol. Yeah, I'll take Tylenol, but it's going to be recorded and everybody's going to know how much I'm taking.
Right.
And of course they were probably worried what they were going to find in my system. Me just blacking out in the restroom.
Right.
What am I on?
This dude's on angel dust.
Yeah. Something. But no, I had 4 small bottles of Fireball in my system. Yeah. And that was it.
Well, everybody listening right now just went, ah.
Yeah.
Ah, that's why.
Yep. Honestly, the last time I drank, Fireball wasn't even a thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't even out yet.
Yeah. It wasn't real. I started drinking it before Florida Georgia Line sang about it. So.
Yeah.
It's like 2011.
It had been pretty much
12.
Almost 10 years since I really drank.
Yeah.
I mean, I would drink once a year, sometimes on my birthday or something, but every time I'd do it, I'd be like, the hangover last 3 days. I can't do this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd really like to get some people on the podcast to talk.
I think that's a good medium.
Anything.
Said it twice, 2 episodes in a row. Use the word medium. Just saying.
Me?
But no. Oh. when we were talking to Johnny, we were talking about mediums, but
yeah.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Oh, I just had kind of I always wonder, like when you're saying you were afraid to have the pills, like how much of your prior addiction was driven by the actual chemicals versus, I would call it, environmental, circumstantial stuff, life circumstance. You know what I mean? I always wonder that. And that's because I feel like life circumstance drives so much drug use.
It really, I don't think my life at the time was bad. I was single and had my own place and stuff, was kind of in a party crowd, but it wasn't anything crazy. And I think a lot of the issue was just the excitement of going to get the drugs and drive across town with it, and the adrenaline rush of it.
Yeah.
Was big for me.
Which I would classify as being something that a young person would do. You know what I mean? Like I don't ever have that itch anymore where I'm like, I got to go do something illegal, or, you know, like
it's just an inconvenience.
Poke the bear in a way. Like I don't really feel like doing that. And I don't know if that's just a maturity thing. Like you get older and just feel that way, but that's always something that I like to point out, because I feel like people make out like these things are so chemically addictive, and they are, but I feel like a lot of what drives people's use is
the environment,
trying to escape situations. You know what I mean? Trying to escape their life circumstance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hard times.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's what my issue with it was I was trying to escape my own head.
Yeah.
Because my own head was so negative, the bipolar depression that I have, that it was the highest of highs, lowest of lows. Yeah. And I'd make it myself. I actually came down from hunting a couple times during perfect time of the evening and told my mom I can't sit up in a tree stand anymore. I want to jump out of it just so my head doesn't work the way it's working.
Yeah.
And then those things would just cloud me so much that it wouldn't work the way it worked. So I was so-called happier, but
well, you're escaping.
Yeah.
I think that's the best term for it. And I don't know, working as a tattoo artist, you run across people who were addicts, and I've had the one dude sticks out in my head, and he told me once that, once people see you as an addict, it's really hard to get them to not see you that way.
Yeah.
And so with this current incident you had, I think that's on everybody's minds instantly. And it's so hard to distinguish between people who are talking shit and people who care in those situations.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because some people could be interested because they just care and they want to know how they can help. But then other people are just dirtbags and they just talk shit about who's doing what and, gossip circle stuff. So that's kind of, I think,
and
the mind fuck of that.
That's the truth. Like once you're there, that's always going to be in the back of everyone's mind. And I can't blame anyone for that, because I put that in the back of their mind. That's from my choices, the things I did in the past. And with me stepping down from the business, the divorce, and now this happening, of course, everybody's going to be like, he went back into drugs.
I mean, you're kind of victim blaming yourself a little bit here.
Well, yeah.
Like, I think people can kind of mind their own business in a lot of those cases, and I guess, it's just, there's so many questions around each individual person's issues. I think it's just hard to throw a blanket blanket statement where it's like, oh, well, it's just this that causes this. It's a multitude of things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I guess it's unfortunate that happened, but it was a nice kind of, you can walk away knowing that you took the medication for what it was intended for, didn't feel the need to go to a party and put them up your nose, and then you moved on. Yeah. So if you are going to counsel somebody and that's all they're worried about is like, because I've had people like, don't give me anything.
They don't want it back in their system.
Yeah.
Taste of it.
Yeah. And you can tell they're dead serious. So I guess that's something a notch in your belt, really, that you should be proud of.
I guess, yeah. I haven't thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's the negative blanket victim blaming thing almost. But yeah, I didn't think of it as that at all, as like a notch under my belt that, hey, that shows that I'm over it.
Yeah. And it's like I was saying, if you're going to mentor somebody or coach them, and let them know, like, it's possible. Yeah. You're not going to go
falling right back into it.
Yeah.
Well, one of the other things that I hear all the time is if you're an addict, you're an addict forever. You'll constantly battle that.
Yeah. I don't know if I believe that.
I don't either. And like, you know, they say the same thing about loss. You lost your father or something. And like, you know, granted, I haven't experienced a ton of loss, so I will say that, but you know, thinking your way through something definitely has its merits. And like, I just think that we don't give ourselves credit anymore as far as like being able to think our way through things. And
yeah,
it'll always be in the background, but you're coming to understand it more and more as you experience different things.
Yeah.
Or if somebody tells you like, well, everybody in your family was addicted to alcohol, so you're predisposed to just don't go around it or you won't be able to stop. It's like, is that just because everybody had access to it? And I mean,
we'll measure that against like what culture and like what commercials and advertising and movies and all that shit. Right? How many rappers do you see carrying around like people want to be like those people. So like they're going to emulate them. And so that has way more of a influence, I would think, than heredity.
Yeah.
When it comes to that.
I mean, maybe there's a little bit of truth to the heredity thing, but I've always thought that was kind of a shaky argument. Like, well, my uncle was a drunk, so I guess I'm just a drunk. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. It's probably a hard barrier to go through. I'd imagine they're both pretty.
Yeah. And is there a difference between addictive personality and just the fact that humans, we overindulge in general? We eat too much fast food. We
some kind of
drink all the time. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
I wouldn't even classify you, Andy, as an addictive personality. I would say you're almost more addicted to taking risk.
Well, that's obvious.
I
know you're being
if
serious.
I go back to him saying that he enjoyed going to take the risk of getting it more than anything else, you know, that could be like
the adrenaline junkie or whatever you want to call it.
The same thing, but you know, I think that's all just like figuring it out, and you're figuring it out. Yep. So, but the only way to figure it out is to think and talk about it with people.
Yeah, exactly.
Like we're doing now. That's why I think the podcast for you is a great idea, because like we called it recreational rehab mainly because we're starting the studio in your RV. Yeah. But I think the rehab isn't just for like guests. It's, you know, for you me too, to have a dialogue and talk things out. And hopefully that can provide value for other people that are listening to it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And I'd hope people that want to talk would reach out and want to come on the podcast. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard sometimes to look in and say that, yeah, this might help me, but I guarantee you it will help me.
Yeah.
With being with other people that are going through the same things or even close to it.
Like a younger you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that all the time when like our friend who just broke both of his ankles pretty much. I think I have a lot of information for that person. You know what I mean? Because I've been through all he thinks is, I'm just good at writing pretty much. Because if you're trying to do something professionally, that's your sole focus. So when you injure your way out of it, you're like screwed up in the head a little bit because you're trying to figure out what you're good at. And you almost have zero confidence because like you haven't experienced a lot of other stuff. So
you thought you were going to put all your stock into one thing and that was it. And
I definitely did that.
Like we talk about the rappers with the face tats, like this is it, or.
Well, people don't really understand that mentality. I think a lot of times where people commit to something and like most athletes are going to, if they're on a professional level, they're going to like do it until they can't do it anymore. And that's just such a hard thing for people to understand mentally. Like, why would you do that to yourself? And like, I still watch Supercross races and X Games and like, why would I do that to myself? And I've had people ask me that, and like, I don't know. It's like, like you're saying, like it's an addictive personality thing, and like, or being addicted to adrenaline, like you're saying. But I don't really distinguish that as being. I mean, you could take anything and distort it and do it too much.
Yeah. Right. Well, like you've been saying on our trip, moderation.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to be like, that's such a crappy message to try to give people, because it's like, stop doing this. I don't think that's ever an effective way to get somebody to do something. Stop doing that.
Right.
It's not good for you.
But I think an effective way to get somebody to see something is to have them see the positive merit, like the things that are good that are coming out of it that, not doing a certain thing leads to, or not doing it so much.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's almost always they have to experience it for themselves.
Yeah. And in moderation, like you're saying, that sounds like everybody that I know that rides dirt bikes still at my age did it in a semi-moderate way. They didn't like ride over their head and go balls deep in it, that wasn't a good move. It seemed like an awesome move at the time because like that everybody's rooting for that person, the person that swings for the fences, or what's that Kevin Costner film where Tin Cup, where he keeps
signs.
He keeps hitting this shot. He's going for the green and it just keeps plunking in the water every time. And the crowd is like hating it. Like just take a prop and
the baseball one.
I think it's a golf.
I thought you were talking about, Swing Johnny Swing from Signs. So you said tinfoil and I'm like tinfoil hats.
Did I say tinfoil? Maybe that's on my head.
Tin Cup. Yeah.
Anyway, I just think that it's easy to fall into that mentality when you're younger, and I still classify people who are in their 30s as,
younger.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
it's not just like you're 25 and you're grown up.
Right.
No, it's
a transitional thing.
And you feel invincible to a point until you get so much older when paint starts to hurt, which I'm starting to learn. But yeah, I am still young.
You're kind of toying with the gods, I think. That's how I used to think of it. And that's a really stupid way to
that's exactly what it is.
I'm not a religious person, but I would pray before I go out. Please keep me safe. And then I'd get injured and I'd be like, screw you guys.
You did this. Not me.
That's not a fair test.
Right.
I think seeing it now, that's not if you put yourself in, if you test it enough, you're going to fail the test at some point.
Well, the motocross thing, aren't you looking at these guys on TV or whatever? And you're like, well, they obviously are putting everything, like, that's what I have to do to get there. And that's what I want. So when people say, why are you doing this? They don't understand. I
think that's what it takes nowadays to be noticed for something, is you got to put like a lifelong effort into it.
Right.
Which kind of sucks.
Yeah. Once you're in it, you're in it.
I think having addiction issues is not that way. I think people do. Tons of people work their way out of it.
Yeah.
So
that's mainly a mental and physical mind fuck. But like you said, millions of people do it.
There's resources, but you can't run away from it.
Yeah.
I think that's why people deny the resources, whether it be,
certain rehab facilities or whatever.
They're around.
Yeah.
But that has its own issues, which, I think that would be something to cover in there. What are the local resources for that?
Maybe
whether they're worth a damn.
Yeah. What's the issues?
Or interviewing people from those.
Yeah. What they personally think about.
See if they're full of crap or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is kind of hard to have an interview with somebody and like after the interview, you have like a 10-minute torch them.
Yeah.
Right.
So just scorch them session.
Yeah. Then you're opening yourself up to a lawsuit.
And I've also heard that recently in a few different things, that somebody that went to school for rehab really can't talk about addiction very well.
Right.
If they haven't experienced it.
Right.
Which I get, but at the same time, education is education. It's going to help.
Right.
But they're still not going to feel the same. You know what I mean? Like
it's tricky.
Yeah.
Tricky like that. Well, I mean, it's not exactly the same thing, but it's like people saying, I don't want a firearms instructor who hasn't been in a firefight before. It's like, all right, well, there's still a lot of useful things.
Yeah.
Or they could have been in a firefight and still be a piece of shit instructor.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
I know it's not exactly the same, but.
Or being in a firefight and not say anything about it.
Right.
And still be an instructor.
Right.
I mean.
Yeah.
A lot of people they won't talk about it instead of flirting it. You know what I mean? Just throwing it out there all the time.
Yeah.
But I see good and bad with both sides of it. Somebody that's educated is going to tell me things that I don't know, that I would have never even thought about.
Yeah. Your real ticket, this is going to sound messed up, but your real ticket is to get somebody who got addicted in college and then beat it and still got their degree. That's just a knockout of the park right there.
Does Adderall count for that?
No, because like 90% of college students are on Adderall, which is, you know,
almost
pharmaceutical speed.
Meth. Yeah.
Which
I don't think you can talk about all these things without talking about what the world we live in and just all the societal pressures that a person faces, especially young people now. And like, what are you going to do when you grow up? I didn't have an answer for that when there were jobs around. Now they're just faced with, well, it's a stupid answer. And that's, I mean,
it's a stupid question.
I don't think it should be a static thing. Like
right.
How often do people work in the same career now for 30 years? I just don't think that happens that often anymore. And like for myself, I've changed careers several times and like, it sucks, but
it's kind of,
what do you have to follow trends. I mean, I started photography when it was film photography and watched that get gutted by digital stuff. And now I feel the same thing is kind of happening with tattoos in a way where it's like democratized in a way. Anybody can go to get a kit. So
like Johnny was saying, getting it on Walmart and shit now.
It's everything's a competitive thing. Drone shooting stuff with now everybody's got a drone. And I'm just watching the level of people's footage go through the roof just instantly. Like it's a technological thing and that's hard to compete with.
Oh, for sure.
And even hard. I think if we talk about your podcast, that's a hard thing to wrangle in is what's your demographic? Who's the listener that you're aiming for? It's definitely not trying to be cool and save some 20-some-year-old person. I think you're talking about people who are ready to move on from that shit.
Yeah.
And grow from it.
Well, and that kind of means discluding the social scene.
Yeah.
You know, how many people only drink when they go out and try to find some strange, you know?
Yeah.
All right.
Or go out with a bunch of friends just to drink.
I don't like drinking at all. And I would have to have a drink in my hand just to not feel weird. And like, I'm sure people are more tolerant to it now, but like then people would dog you. Well, you're not drinking.
Yeah. It's the only thing that you're not allowed to not do. It seems like
even with recovering alcoholics, it's a tattoo shop. So people drink and like, maybe they just forget or whatever, but you know, people will come up and like, dude, you're not drinking. Yeah. It's like, no, I haven't drank in 10 years.
Yeah.
So the weirdest thing is going to a party and then asking you if you want to drink. I'm like, I don't drink alcohol. That really throws them off.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure the feeling is they're just like, well, what are you here for? Or, I don't know. I think there's a group mentality that goes along with that, where it's like, if I'm going to get drunk and act silly and say a bunch of bullshit, I want you to be drunk along with me. So we both have an excuse to say whatever.
I feel like that's mostly it.
Yeah. When people should be able to just say whatever and be kind and just like stay in their lane and be able to talk to one another. But we got to get all crazy shitty with one another. I mean, I took a lot of time off from television and I've been seeing television now and like the reality shows and all that shit. No wonder people act the way they do. It's like fed to them in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
for sure.
That's the whole escape thing. Drinking is a social, organized escape vessel, you know?
Yeah.
And when you don't drink for a while, you realize how annoying drunk people can be.
And that's another thing. That's why if you plan on not drinking ever again or just cutting back, being around drunk people sucks.
If you're not lit or buzzed or drunk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you kind of see how everybody's like fronting in a way. They're putting on a front, I would say.
Right.
It's the same thing as your Instagram or anything else.
Yeah.
You have your most polished.
The highlight reel of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've all experienced that when the lights come on at 2:30 in the morning. And like, I don't know why they do that at bars. Is that a cruel joke that they pull on people?
I think it is.
I think so.
And if everybody
fucking later,
if everybody looks good, you've spent too much at the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like,
you should be depressed when that happens.
Going back to what you're saying. Yeah. I don't think the person, Raylan baking soda in the kitchen is going to listen to the podcast and be like, I shouldn't be doing this. It's more the person.
No, maybe the from what I hear, there's a real down feeling after that. So, catch them on the low.
Yeah. It's all about marketing, man. You got to get it in there at the right time.
I guess, I don't know. It would be hard to even attach some sort of you can't grade what you're going to try to do with the show. It's just about community and helping people get a couple of steps forward, because it does help with anything. If you have a mentor or someone who can give you the cheat code or whatever, and your
cheat code, usually honesty.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and people, I mean, that's the thing I loved about art school, which is a total tangent, but you have critiques in art school. So people come and they kind of get at you, they, what's this about? Or they ask questions, and you get good at not getting offended when someone says, hey, you can do it this way. Swing the hammer like this, hold it like this when you're doing it. That's some serious shit coming from a crafts person that's or a crafts person who's recovering from addiction. You've got experience, they should listen, but you can't make people listen.
Oh no,
it's impossible.
But I totally agree. It's the layout for it's probably just gonna come with time.
Yeah.
With the people I have on it. The way.
Yeah. I mean, it evolves,
Yeah.
Just like this is going to be the 12th episode. I don't know what the show is going to be in, 100 episodes from now, but as long as you identify who you think is actually going to get value from it and kind of stick to that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if I start, just doing wild stuff, people are going to be like, okay, well, this has been fun.
Way to go, 12. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to have to do a lot of brainstorming. Hopefully my brain can handle it.
Yeah.
But yeah. And with time, it'll come. I mean, I'd like to help addiction people, vets, whoever's willing to talk about anything, really. The homestead, I mean, we can go into that, especially with me working on the house. I love outside views on everything.
Yeah.
I would just consider those things outlets for the tension you feel with we all feel that you have some stuff to do and you don't want to go do it. So you don't do it. And then the next day you're like, shit, I didn't do that. And then that's when the depression cycle starts.
Mm-hmm. And then the pile starts building higher. I
have stupid lists everywhere. I'm never going to get to that stuff, but
I should probably, like you said, everybody said a journal, just lists of things that need done, write it down.
I don't know that that's going to help, I guess, but it's hard to be organized and then not have all the pressure from all that stuff being right there, ready to go. Yeah,
that makes sense too.
Once you've thought about it, it's time to do it. And then there's this hesitancy that I think everybody has. There's surely a hesitancy that comes along with putting yourself out there with all the stuff you're talking about. And how does that look? How do you make that valuable to people?
Yeah.
It's hard not to ask those questions going into it, but that's just, people should ask those questions or else, you get no purpose.
Yeah.
I don't want to sound I don't think you want to do too talk showy, but I've kind of seen shows like podcasts on the same line where they do live stuff and you have people call in or email and ask a question. And then maybe there's, 50 other people that with the same question. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think it's a lot more effective to hear people talk it out than just Google, how do I stop being depressed and do drugs? Stop doing drugs. You know what I mean? So,
and it throw out questions that I wouldn't even think about people wondering.
Right.
You know what I mean? That would be a good way to do it too.
And like we talked about earlier, it's like a live real time journal. Have you ever journaled before? Daily?
No.
Yeah.
Not too much.
Apparently people benefit from it. The
one time I got put in the hospital and was in the psych ward, they made me do it in there for the group things.
Yeah.
But that was so long ago, I hardly remember that.
Mm-hmm.
But it may help. I've had people recently tell me that too.
Yeah.
especially like with me having trouble filling out the paperwork and stuff. We definitely put that down and talked to the doctors about it after the head injury, but they were talking more personal stuff, digging in deeper to myself, which, I mean, I shouldn't be against it at all, but it's definitely, for some reason, it's hard for me to do.
Yeah, everybody has their threshold. Like yours is pretty high. I mean, you don't have a problem talking about stuff, but everybody has a certain point where.
Yeah, there's still stuff that I don't talk about. I won't talk about.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
Sometimes it scares me to dig that far into my own head, but it's there. Something you got to do eventually if you want to come to terms with everything.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you'll get there one day.
Yeah.
It's totally your right whether you do or not.
Gonna be a whole new thing.
Yeah.
And for some reason, after the accident, I'm actually excited to see where everything goes. I seem more inspired to get into it more. I don't know why. Maybe I just needed a good slap on the head.
Well, yeah, maybe you're just excited to be alive.
Yeah, near-death experiences have that effect.
That could be too. Which every day, I mean, I've definitely found it hard to control emotions. I cry a lot now.
Yeah.
But I think that's mainly because everybody that's worried about me, I don't like being worried about.
Right.
But I like worrying about everybody else. I'm bad about that.
It's not a terrible quality to have.
No. But when people start worrying about me, it upsets me. It shouldn't be that way. In my head, it shouldn't be that way. But that's just people who care.
Yeah, like I said, when we off the mic, we every 10 years somebody helped me out. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. Very true.
Yeah. I wouldn't worry about it too much.
But I've actually got inspired to work on the new place again. Been thinking about that a lot.
Yeah.
What I want to start doing there, which my dad's helped me. I talked to him quite a bit about stuff, which that's going to be a whole new thing too. I definitely want to put some stuff on the YouTube channel of that, start recording some modeling of the house. But yeah, there's definitely been a lot of new obstacles that I didn't think about.
Yeah.
What's your mind thoughts on a lot of it, Jeff?
There's
I know
plenty to do.
You're going through a lot of mental shit too.
Yeah, I mean, I can identify with what you say about how it sucks knowing people are worried about you, and that kind of, that's the whole reason I don't post about my situation online, because I just don't want people's, you're not asking for like sympathy.
Yeah.
Or it's,
right.
I feel like it just, some people are in that zone. I just don't feel right about it. I'll make posts when I'm done with the process, but I just don't want to have to deal with that during the process, going online, comments.
Yeah.
You know, I know you made a post the other day, and like, I don't know. It's just weird to me.
I like I said, like you said, I definitely didn't do it for the comments or anything.
No, it makes people
You're probably
feel bad.
tired of the text messages
And family and everybody asking why I'm off social media and haven't been on in a while.
Isn't that weird?
That's the like days after it happened. My Aunt Missy texted me and was like, "Are you okay?" She was worried I fell in the garage working on a bike or something, got carbon monoxide poisoning.
Yeah.
Because I work in a garage a lot by myself.
Yeah.
And that never even crossed my mind. You've been off social media forever. Well, I usually do my singing, dancing and shit. And she said, I miss my morning dance parties with you. And I didn't even think of that. So I've had to reach out to a lot of people. And it was just easier to post a post and say, hey, this is what happened. I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm recovering, but this is what happened. And this is why I haven't been on. And I totally feel what you said, Jeff. It's hard to, I don't like doing posts like that.
Yeah. It just feels wrong, even though most of the people who would pay attention to it have good intentions, but I just feel that way about, it's just like cheapening the whole experience. You know what I mean? Like you're going through a lot. So like, a little comment online is like not something that I even want on my radar.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to, when you're recovering from something, it's hard to just stay focused on that, you know?
Yeah.
Because you get everybody else's emotions. What happened?
Yeah. And I can't even fault the people because I've caught myself doing it. I haven't heard from this person I haven't seen them in a while. What's going on? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But people that are normally off, then I don't even, more power to them.
Yeah.
But, I was missing the Snapchat dance videos myself.
It's crazy how that becomes a routine
to
a lot of people. I mean, or just your already routine with social media.
Right.
And then if one of them that's there every day isn't there anymore, it makes you wonder.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if they're already going through whatever.
Like with you, it's like guns, dirt bikes, everything. Like your aunt said, it's like, hope he's all right. I mean,
yeah, not the safest though.
You don't just sit around and watch TV all day. So one of my questions I had lined up for you was, where are you going to go from here? But I think you pretty much covered it. Just kind of, you're outside 90% of the time. So it's not really cheap to say that the weather's the reason why you're pissed off. But I mean, it's true.
That's part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was in school, some of my teachers would tell my mom, take him to Florida, get him out of here.
Yeah.
During the winter. Because I just start going crazy. I mean, I was on ADHD meds and all that stuff. Yeah. Once I can get back to working on the new place and start getting everything going, sky's the limit then.
Yeah.
And I kind of want to just see where it leads to.
Yeah.
Just let it play out on its own. I mean, I have a plan, but plans change all the time.
Yeah, for sure. I'll put a link or just the name of the description in the episode note.
Okay.
So people can follow you. Like I said, you're my most asked about guest. People really enjoyed our episode we did together. So
yeah, it was a fun one.
Yeah.
We did cover a lot.
Yeah. To be fair, up until 3 weeks ago, it was interesting.
Had to get more interesting. Thankful every day to still be walking and talking and somewhat coherent. My mind's never going to be right. But I mean, I still got the Suzuki Samurai to get out too. That's about done.
Keep it in the garage, bud.
Just keep your hands inside when it rolls.
Oh, for sure. Tuck them in. Hold on to the harness. No, there's, like I said, sky's the limit. We'll see where it goes.
Right on there. Well, thanks for chatting with me, bro.
Thanks for having me back.
Jeff, nice to have you here again.
Glad to be here anytime.
Gotta get a clown laugh before we sign off.
I've been practicing.
Good enough.
All right, later, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Ta-ta.